forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was in the Wall Street Journal maybe, or the New York Times, talking about the fallacy of the open hearts and stents and all this, and the use of cholesterol or statin drugs. Now, there are situations where stents have helped save a lot of people, I'll tell you that right now. And it's not just stents in coronary arteries, it's stents in things like the bile duct, you know, things like this, because we've taken our body pretty bad. But I want to reference you, and I talked about this, I think, the other day, where if you look at the commercial for Lipitor, Plavix, and Crestor, and I went over that with you to show you that if you look closely, they place the cholesterol plaquing in the artery wall, not on the artery. Crestor did a commercial initially putting cholesterol on the artery wall and then changed it because they realized someone had told them cholesterol doesn't start plaquing on the wall. Cholesterol is alkaline. You're not going to have an anionic environment in the blood unless you're high protein. Then that's when you see your blood cells start sticking, is when you vary that pH a little bit with so much protein. Now you're creating this anionic a little bit in the blood, and then all your red blood cells start attaching to each other, following each other like choo-choo trains, or clustering. That's what you don't want. That lowers iron and hemoglobin. That lowers it because you're losing that carrying capacity of each individual cell. And then the adrenal glands, of course, deals with iron utilization and deals with how the hemoglobin, I mean, there's a lot to that. Clean your spleen, too. So sometimes I get carried away here, so you have to forgive me. But the blood... Cholesterol is the body's main antacid. Initially, the adrenal steroids, which are made from LDL, is the body's main antacid. Medical doctors use cortisone, which is cortisol, all the time for inflamed or acid conditions, instead of removing the acids. Of course, remember we talked about if you take cortisol or steroids, you'll lose your adrenal glands. A good veterinarian will never give their animals cortisone shots, because they'll lose their adrenal glands. It's the same thing with hormones. And we discussed this with the bioidentical hormones. And maybe we'll do just one on that, but I touched these on these videos, so I appreciate you enduring these long videos and putting up with this, because I have this information kind of spatty through that. But I'm doing the best in getting that out to you, because I'm still clinically heavily involved with people, and this is to give you general information. And I really appreciate you guys, because you're putting on the robe and you're wearing it. You're starting to take on these programs and you're going down this road, and I really appreciate that. It shows how strong and your character and how spiritual you all are. So it's really great to be involved with you folks. I appreciate that. But cholesterol starts plaquing where there's acids. It's kind of like that commercial where this man and this woman inspector's walking around the dam, and she sees a little leak, and he's chewing some gum or something, and he goes, oh, okay, and he puts the gum, and he sticks the piece of gum in this leak in this big dam, and then they start to walk off, and then you see the gum pop behind them. Well, cholesterol is like that gum. It's like we have to stop acids in the body, or the acids break you down. So adrenal steroids are antacid. Cholesterol is the body's main antacid, and of course calcium. We talked about the importance of calcium. The body sucks calcium out of you to fight acids. It's this game. So then what you see is cholesterol plaquing in the wall, swelling the wall, or you see calcifications, the body pulling calcium out of structure, and then you see the crystallization or calcifications, call it stenosis, whatever you wish. But then you can get hardening of the arteries, you can get swelling of the arteries, and of course pulling out calcium can cause vascular integrity weakness, and you can have vascular collapses. Or vascular spasms. You can have strokes and heart attacks from vascular spasms, vascular collapses, vascular occlusions, which means blockages. All of these things are very curable. What do you have to do? What's causing them? Acids. Well, where do the acids come from? The cells themselves. And what system deals with acids? Your lymphatic system. And understanding that lymphatic system, you'll find we're going to always go back to there. Even in blood disorders, we're going to go back to there. You can take herbs to clean up the blood, okay, but go back to your lymphatic system always, kidney and adrenals, and clean out those lymph nodes and things. So in any heart condition, remember, don't go out and exercise. Don't go out and exercise. Not good. I remember a young man in one of these local hospitals, and he was 43 years old. He came in about 2 o'clock with a heart attack. I came in the morning in cardiopulmonary, and I was doing some time there just for the fun of it. And I saw this stat means now, EKG. I need an EKG real bad on the cardiac floor. So I was the only one there, and I ran up there, and there was an EKG machine that the cardiopulmonary leaves on these cardiac floors at night. And here's this big charge nurse sitting there, and I said, here's your EKG machine. How come you're the nurse, head nurse? How come you didn't do one on him? Because when you're on the floor in the rooms, you have a heart monitor on you, but it only monitors what they call lead 2. So you're only seeing one view of a heart. If you notice, an EKG is 12 views of the heart. So you're looking at the heart, all the different walls of the heart, because you can have an infarction or a heart attack on one side of the heart and not see it if you're looking at the other side of the heart. So that's the value of a 12 lead. When you're in generally being monitored, you're only monitored in one lead. Some monitors might monitor in more, but so I went down and we went down. I went down and did an EKG on him, and sure enough, he was having an infarction or a heart attack on one wall. He'd had pain all night long, and so I ran down and I showed the charge nurse this. Well, she freaked out, called Code Blue, and we both went running down to the room where he was, and I was talking with him, and we were chatting with him, and I looked at his heart monitor, went 60, 50, 40, 30, and back he went. He went right out. So I grabbed the covers and threw him off the bed and grabbed his left foot. And right there in the ball of that foot, more over to the edge here, is the heart reflex. And I started rubbing that. By the time the ER doc got there in the crash cart, I had him up talking to us. And there was a couple of cardiologists that had ran in the room and a PA, and they said, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "Watch this." And I got him back up and talking with us without cracking his sternum, without any meds, without any epinephrine. I got him up talking to us, and I've done that 3 times. I did it once in a restaurant, and I did it 2 times in a hospital. And that, of course, this is the nervous system to the heart that ends in your feet, and you can do it in the left hand too. This is left foot, left hand right here. And you can actually stimulate the heart to start pumping again by this stimulation. And sure enough, and if you have heart pains, you want to start working on your heart reflexes. It'll help you. Here's one right in this sternum area as well, right under this chest area here, the left breast, and you'll see this right on the left side of the sternum there. And you start rubbing these areas, and you'll start turning that heart back on. So they took him to an intensive care unit, and I went back that afternoon to visit him, and he was eating a barbecued beef sandwich and French fries. Now, here is a post-MI, very sensitive, everything's inflamed, everything's very sensitive and prone to spasm, and they're having a barbecued beef and French fries. I mean, that dietitian or physician should have been sued. So I was livid, but I went back the next day. I was off, and I went back the next day, and they told me he had died that afternoon, and they couldn't get him back. Well, of course, they killed him. You know, I mean, he killed himself, but the bottom line, they just quickened the process. We could have saved him. He was only 43 years old. And this is the problem we have. So the importance of raw fruits and vegetables can't be underestimated on all these cases of emergency medicine. And what you can do in emergency medicine without hurting people, because I've cracked a lot of sternums before in the elderly doing it their way. So anyway, thanks for this video and watching this video. You all have fun today. Take care of your health, and I'll do more. Bye-bye.